Hello, Namaste Yogis. My faithful assistant Nako and I are here to bring you a really excellent story today. I told you earlier the story of Ganesha's origin, about how the goddess Lalita created him in her great battle with the demon Banda. And so I thought we'd go deeper into the story of Lalita. Lalita Tripura Sundari, who's an incredibly powerful goddess. She's the mother of all the universes, the great Shakti, divine feminine power. Her name, Lalita Tripura Sundari. Lalita means soft or also playful. Tripura means of the three worlds, all over the whole universe. And Sundari is a beautiful woman. So she is the most beautiful goddess of the three worlds with her softness, her playfulness. And so the story starts actually with Shiva and his wife Sati. In this story you've heard before too, you can go back and look for it. But Shiva and Sati are married, and Sati gets really mad because her father won't accept Shiva, and she walks into a fire. She kills herself, and so Shiva is beyond sad. And he goes into the mountains to meditate, and no one can bring him from his meditation. Meanwhile, there's a demon that has a boon that only the son of Shiva can kill him. And so they have to get Shiva married and have him make a baby so that they can defeat this demon. And so they find the reincarnation of Sati, and her name is Parvati. And so the gods bring Parvati to Shiva, thinking this is going to pull him out of his deep meditation, but it doesn't work. And so they decide to bring on Kama. Kama is the god of love. And Kama comes with his sugarcane bow and his flower arrows. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, he shoots 5 flower arrows right into the heart of Shiva. And what this does is it stirs up lust and desire, as it's supposed to. So Shiva feels lust. All of a sudden his eyes open and he's overcome with desire. And then he gets mad. He doesn't want to feel desire. And he tries to push it down, and he looks around for the one who's caused this. And he sees Kama, and he knows that it was Kama's fault that he felt this desire. And so he opens his third eye and he burns Kama to ash, which of course devastates everyone who is watching, and especially devastates Kama's wife, Rati. Rati begs for Shiva to bring Kama back, and Shiva says, well, I can't do that, but let me see what I can do. And so Shiva and his men, his attendants, they take the ash of Kama's burned body and they put it back together, and they create another being out of this ash. And Shiva's friends, they say, hey, you should say some mantras over it. Give it some blessing, this new being. And so Shiva says mantras, and he teaches this new being a mantra that is really powerful. This mantra gives this being a boon, that anytime he chants the mantra, he takes on half the power of his adversaries. So anyone that he goes into battle with, anyone that he fights with, immediately he can steal half of their power. And so this being Shiva's created, he creates him, and then Shiva says, oh, Banda, Banda, which is like good, good. And this being they start to call Banda. And this being at first is a wonderful devotee of Shiva, but pretty soon the power that he has goes to his head, and he becomes a demon. So his name is then Banda Asura, the Banda demon. And Banda goes about doing the things that most demons do, selfishly using his power to get things, to have power over others, to destroy others. And so he's just destroying everything in his path, and no one can stop him. None of the gods or goddesses are able to defeat him. And so they all go to Indra and they say, Indra, please help. And so Indra, what he does is he goes to the mountains. He climbs way up into the Himalayas. And when you think about the symbolism of this story, the mountains, they're inside of us. It's all happening inside of us. They represent perhaps our spinal column, perhaps this ascent into higher spiritual realms that we can pull ourselves out of the material world. We can pull ourselves away from our most base instincts and climb the spiritual ladder. We can ascend and become more mindful and spiritual. And so in that way, the idea of going up into the mountains represents a spiritual awakening, a spiritual ascension. And so Indra goes way up into the mountains, and he invites all the gods and goddesses to come as he creates a fire ceremony. He makes a massive fire, unlike any fire they've ever seen. And they all pray to the great goddess of the universe, the mother of the world, to give them some guidance, to come and help them. And suddenly in the center of that fire, there she is. She is the mother of the universe, come to bless them in form, in female form. And she is so beautiful, no one can take their eyes off of her. They say that her eyes look like the very gates of love. Her smile is so enchanting. And this is the best part. They say she's got voluptuous thighs. They say that she's got a faint trail of beautiful hair on her belly, and that her stomach had 3 pretty folds. So power to the voluptuous goddesses. So this gorgeous goddess is just full of love. Everyone's enchanted at her. She was looking for Shiva. She knows that's her mate. And so Shiva manifests in front of her and they marry. And Shiva's then given the title, the Emperor of Love. How great is that? Who doesn't want to be called the Emperor of Love? And so then the goddess Lalita, Tripura, Sundari goes into battle with the demon Bandasura. And the goddess creates a whole army of other goddesses. She's got a whole goddess army at her side, and they enter into battle with the demon army of Bandasura. And they're fighting and fighting, and the demons realizing that these goddesses are pretty powerful. And actually, at one point, when he hears that a woman is coming to get him, at first he laughs. He roars with laughter. But his attendants, they say, don't laugh, because Shakti has never lost a battle. You should never laugh at the power of Shakti. Right? He thinks he can't be defeated by a woman. We'll see about that. And so he's seeing that these goddesses are super powerful. And so he goes to his chief sorcerer and asks for help. And the sorcerer creates a yantra, a geometric design that he infuses with curses, and he throws it into the camp of the goddesses. And what it does right away, it starts to make the goddesses really tired and really lazy. It just drains all of their resolve and their power from them until they're all just laying around going, why are we fighting injustice anyway? I'm giving my life for what? For nothing? No way. Let's just rest. Let's relax. Let's take a nap. But 2 of Lalita's friends, 2 of her best buds, their spiritual practices are so entrenched and so strong that the curse doesn't affect them. And so they run to the goddess and they go tell Lalita what happened. And when she hears about what happened, she lets out a laugh, a beautiful laugh like a bell that rings across the land. And from her laugh starts to emerge this form, this giant-headed elephant boy, Ganesha. And Ganesha, this is the other story I told you. Ganesha now, he realizes what's happening, and right away he runs to where the yantra is and he smashes it with his tusks and he breaks the spell. And thus Lalita gives him the boon that he gets to be worshipped before any other god or goddesses. And the fight continues. So the goddesses are battling the demons and it's going on. And to protect Lalita, the goddesses build a giant ring of fire all the way around her with just one little opening that her goddess army can go in and out of. And in the center of the circle of flames sits Lalita Tripura Sundari. And the battle goes on until all the demons' men, they're dead. And so now the demon realizes he's got to fight Lalita himself. And so he approaches this ring of fire and he throws every weapon he can think of at her. He throws ignorance at her. He throws fear at her. He throws illness at her. He throws destruction at her. And she counters it by smashing each of his weapons with one of her own, with compassion, with grace, with kindness, with insight, with wisdom, until finally the demon takes his most powerful missile, the self-delusion, and he throws the ultimate delusion at her, which she quickly smashes with her own most powerful weapon, which is pure divine love. She smashes his weapon, she smashes him, and the demon and his entire kingdom is reduced to dust. All the gods and goddesses are saying, thank you, and they're hugging Lalita, and they're so grateful, but Brahma says, please, there's one more thing we need you to do. And he points to the pile of ashes now, and he says, this once was Kama, the god of desire. And what can you do? We need Kama. Without desire in the world, there's no creation. And so Lalita, with one loving glance, brings Kama back to life. And she says to Kama, she says, here are my wishes for you, that you make everyone, you infuse everyone with joy and delight, and you keep enchanting everyone, all of my subjects across the whole universe. So I hope you all are being enchanted and delighted by your desires. It's an interesting story, this one, about desire, you know, because in the beginning, Shiva feels desire and he tries to squash it, he tries to kill it, he doesn't want to feel desire. And when we don't feel it, when we don't let ourselves feel, when we just try to kill what we're feeling, it usually comes out some other twisted way, doesn't it? And so in this case, it came out as Bandha Asura, right? He tried to kill desire, and because he did that in anger, he didn't kill it, he made it worse, actually. And so Bandha represents our selfish desire, whereas Lalita, she represents completely unselfish desire, just the desire just to worship and connect with another human being. Our highest spiritual desires is what Lalita represents, and Bandha represents our lowest desires. And so desire itself is not necessarily a terrible thing, but that we should work like Indra, climb the mountain, climb the spiritual mountain and progress so that our desires might be more worthy, they might be more elevated. I'm sure you can find lots of other fun symbolism and messages in that story. I'd love to hear what you find. Namaste.